in, everyone. Come on in because we're here for Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode 16. And it's called The Experts Have Questions. I guess this ain't no sweet 16. This is a sour 16. This ain't no sweet 16. We are concluding our Nancy Drew investigation, Volume 18. We're hearing the conclusion of it, and I'm telling you, if y'all are some of the people late on the bandwagon about who Madison really is, I know y'all got to be caught up by now. You got to be caught up. I've seen the pictures. I have seen the pictures of Madison's brother-in-law, and yes, absolutely, he looks just like David. He looks just like David. But you know what? It plays well into my theory about Madison. I've told y'all from the very beginning that Madison chased David, that Madison, I can't say from the very beginning, but since things started unfolding, Madison chased David. Madison is the more assertive one. David went along because his lifelong dream has been to be accepted by a white woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. And Pastor Cal tried to trigger David. Did you see Pastor Cal telling David she don't even really want you? When she was describing the man she wanted, she don't really want you. Well, first of all, Pastor Cal, we know that Madison lies about what she really wants. She really, really, really does lie. Or is Madison's type any man that's married to another woman? Because right now, Madison's sister, you better go back in your mind and start playing some of these scenes like Alan had to play some of these scenes in his life. I sure hope Madison ain't been out for tacos. Tacos. We start to realize tacos is all about sex. She goes, what do you like to do after sex? Go have tacos. Tacos, tacos, tacos. Madison's sister, if your man is going to get tacos, then you know what? You need to have a sit-down conversation with Madison and your husband. Your husband. Because let me tell you, lots of things were revealed. I think a lot of questions were answered for people. Pastor Cal triggered David into thinking that Michelle don't really want you. She said she want a white man. Well, here's the problem too with that, Pastor Cal. Michelle said she wanted a light-skinned black man and you gave her David. Obviously, people need to start looking at what people identify as. David don't identify as this, Pastor Cal. I don't think David necessarily identifies as no black man. And so first of all, Michelle wouldn't like him. And second of all, you trying to tell Madison that David is really a black man, a man of color, like half Latino, half black. I don't know. But Madison saying that that's not what I look at him as. I look at him as the man of my friend, and I want to take her man. I want to take her man. You know, Michelle said, once again, I have been saying this, that she really wasn't all that hurt by David. She said, I didn't shed a tear for him. She said, you know who I was really hurt by? Madison. Why? Because Madison was your friend, because Madison is the one you put on the pedestal, and like the video I did last week, backstabber. Backstabber, backstabber, backstabber. You know, I really don't know how anybody can pick out another villain other than Madison. She's the villain of this show. She's the absolute villain. But before we get all the way into it, let me go ahead and play my intro video. And be sure why it's playing. It gives y'all a little bit of time to like the video, subscribe to the video, and it even gives you a time to go down in there in them comments real quick and say something. Say something. But so when we came back on the show, Madison's telling Michelle, I got to talk to you, girl. We need to talk. This ain't over yet. Madison over there trying to hide in the bathroom once again. But this time, Michelle is waiting right outside. Remember last time Madison went he in that bathroom for 2 hours from Alan. Who knows? Maybe she was in the stall with David back then too. But she said, I need to talk to you, girl, because you over here are creeping like TLC. Creeping like TLC. And And all David can keep talking about is all what Madison does for him. Madison calls me and asks me how my day was. Madison gives me compliments. Madison does this. Madison done this. David is so thirsty. David is so thirsty, y'all. But after the dust was all settling and the next morning, Madison's walking around talking about how she really want to talk to Alan. But you notice when Madison says she really wants to talk to Alan, all she's talking about is, I want to talk to Alan so I could tell him what I was thinking, how I feel, my side of the story. That's the only reason why she wants to talk to defend herself. She's not really able to console him. She's not talking about, she goes, oh, I want to apologize, but I want to explain it. Maybe if he hears me, he'll understand me. Girl, ain't nobody going to understand this. And that's why you say it's no reason to talk to Madison, because all Madison wants the time to do is she don't want to sit back and listen to what she did and how she's wrong and how she hurt you. She wants the time to explain herself. And let me tell you something. When you run over someone like a freight train, the way that Madison did, people don't always want to listen to you and your feelings and how you feel and what made you do what you want to do. They don't want to hear that because they're too busy still nursing all the tire marks on their back that you did. But Madison, on the other hand, that's all she want to talk to Alan about, so she can explain her point of view, her side, why she did it. Like she said, she was a coward. She was a coward. She was the one that should have told Alan, but she sent David over there to do it. She's been a coward the whole season. She talked about how awful she feels. So all she's really doing is trying to relieve her own awful feelings. I would not give her the satisfaction, Alan. Let her sit over there in her awful feelings. Let her sit over there, because what she's trying to do is, I need to talk to Alan so I can get rid of all my awful feelings for all the bad stuff I've done. Nope. Let her sit over there in all her awful feelings and suffer. That's what I would do. You don't get to talk to me. You don't get to dump all your stuff on me so you can feel better. Absolutely not. Sit over there and walk around in that coat of shame. Walk around in it. You don't need to talk to me. I'll heal myself. I will heal myself, because there's no words that you can tell me that are going to heal me. There's nothing you're going to talk about that can heal me. So I'll go on over here and heal myself, and you can sit over there and suffer in your coat of shame. Maybe I'm petty. Maybe I am, but that's what I would do. Because when somebody's done me wrong, I really don't need to sit around and talk about why you did it. Why do I need to know why you did it? You did it and it's done. The hurt is done. I don't need to talk around why you did it. Most of the time, people want to come around and explain themselves, and they want to get rid of their own awful feelings and all their guilt and all their whatever. That's what they're doing. They're not really there to come to apologize to you, to console you, to hear about how you're feeling. No, they coming over there to dump all their stuff off of them so then they can walk away and say, yeah, see, now I feel so much better. I got to talk to her. I got to talk to the person. I feel so much better. I got to release all this. No, you're not releasing all your shit on me. You're not pulling a wand. You're not going to shit on my toilet and then make me clean up the toilet. You see, that's a wand move. Going in the bathroom, shitting all over the toilet, then asking me to come in there and clean it up. No, clean up your own shit. David walking around the house talking about he ain't got no appetite. They ask, you want some breakfast? I wouldn't even be offering him no breakfast. Why is anybody even being nice to David? I don't like this. The only person I respected, once again, was Carla. David walking around talking about, no, I really don't have no appetite. And you know that's not me. I know it ain't you. I've been saying all season long, it ain't David. David finally admitted he don't even like the treadmill. Ugh. Finally, David admitted he don't even like the treadmill. And the only reason he was on the treadmill was to talk to Madison. I've been telling y'all he don't work out. He don't work out. That ain't what he normally does. And now he tells us he was walking on the treadmill for 45 hours. He wasn't even running. Get out of here, David. Everybody over here still being congenial to David. I wouldn't. I'd be just like Carla, making all them funny faces, rolling my eyes, ain't talking to him. Why are you making him breakfast? Why are you asking him for anything? And David walking around talking about, I'm so happy. I still feel the love for you guys because you know both sides. Nah. Pick a side. Pick a side and stick with it. This is wrong. This is wrong, Camille and Thomas and Juan. Juan really the worst one of all. At least Thomas has realized, I really can't be Team David no more. There is no way I can be Team David anymore now, knowing what he was doing. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Thomas. And all this bad advice Juan is talking about David, you're going to need to give Alan a whole week, but you're going to need to go back and you're going to apologize. And that's up to Alan if he wants an apology, Juan. That's not for you to do. Here you go, once again, coming here with your toxic positivity advice, okay? Because that's what you do, right? That's what you do. Some people don't even want an apology. Some people don't need an apology from certain kind of people. Sometimes you want an apology. Sometimes you need it in other situations. You know what? You can keep it. You can keep it. When we saw David go up to that room with Madison to have a final little conversation with her, and he's sitting on that bed, and like, y'all sure look comfortable sitting on that bed together, laying in that bed together. Y'all been here before. This ain't nothing new. This is nothing new. This is a familiar scene with the two of you laying in that bed. And like we hear later on in the episode, David literally lived just upstairs from Madison. So all that time when Madison was walking out the house, talking about she's going over her friend's house, she was going one flight upstairs, because we know Michelle a lot of the times was sleeping at her own place. They was going right upstairs. These two was low down dirty. Low down dirty. No wonder Loopy couldn't sleep at night. No wonder Loopy was running around, couldn't sleep at night, because Loopy knew that David and Madison was right one floor up humping. One floor up humping. David's still trying to run around and convince everybody he's a good guy, talking about, I'm really a good guy. And, you know, I have a lot on the inside I want to offer you, Madison. You see how David keeps trying to sell himself to Madison. And if y'all don't realize that David is looking for acceptance from this woman, and this woman just represents a woman. I keep trying to tell you this. And so when Pastor Cal came in there later on and started telling him how Madison sat on TV and said she don't want no man of color, no black man, no nothing, she want a white man, you should have seen David's face. Triggered, 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 triggered. Juan told David, how are you going to start this relationship on such a bad note? You're going to have trust issues, because what he was saying was, how can you trust a person not to cheat when they cheated to be with you? That's going to stick with David. That's going to stick with David, because David already is going to have a hard time believing that Madison really wants him. Pastor Cowden told David she don't really want you. She, from what she tells us, you're not her type. But what Michelle's type is, what we're learning is, her type is somebody else's man, like her sister's man. And all those girls she talked about in high school that didn't like her, those girls in high school didn't like her because Madison was flirting with their men. That's why they didn't like her. Remember she talked about that? She said they didn't like her because she was good looking. Oh, they're just jealous of me because their men like me. That's the story Madison runs around and talks about. All those men who told her, I guess you could act like this if you got daddy's money, who was basically telling her she's trash. Madison chalks up everything to, the reason you got a problem with me is because I'm so beautiful and everybody loves me. Girl, take off these bat eyelashes. You're not that beautiful. You're not that beautiful. And then she sat over there with Michelle, who was already feeling insecure up against her, and said, you know what, I'm going to take your man too, Michelle. I'm a backstabber. You know who Madison is, because you can also know who she hangs around. Did you hear that friend? Did you hear that friend when they was on the phone call and Madison came back to the house and was telling the friend that David went through, that Alan had gone through the house and tore up some pictures and broke some glass? And what did that friend say? Oh, that's going too far. He's psycho. He's psycho. No, you psycho. You and Madison are psycho. This is probably the same friend that came to the bar and helped create the diversion for Madison and David. This is the same friend, but they're running around talking about how other people are psycho and other people got the problem. That's what I'm saying. Birds of a feather flock together. Lay down with dogs, you get fleas. Everybody know these sayings? Madison is trash, and so is that girlfriend of hers is trash. Let me tell you, if I was on the phone with my girlfriend, one thing they know, I'm gonna tell them the truth. And what they told me, girl, he sat over here and broke some dishes and tore up some pictures, I'd be telling my girlfriend, my best girlfriend, I would say, yeah, well, shit, he's mad as hell. What you expect? What do you expect? I mean, good thing he didn't do it. He didn't take it out on you physically. That's what I would tell her. Good, I'm glad you weren't there. I'm glad you're safe. But you know what? I would understand. I would completely understand. I won't be sitting over here calling Alan psycho just so my girlfriend, who just cheated on her husband and basically backstabbed one of her good friends, could feel good. Absolutely not. I'm not basing no friendship on that. These two, David and Madison, still running around trying to talk about how they was just friends, and the situation just blossomed over the last 2 weeks. They still lying. I'm so glad people are getting to the root of things and saying, so you mean to tell me, David, you were willing to text a woman that you just started having feelings for, that you didn't even know had feelings for you, You look so damn fine. I want to eat you up. That's what David wants us to believe, that there's been no sexual interaction whatsoever. And what he did was he was so assertive and so aggressive in his pursuit of Madison that he was willing and able to send that message. I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. Because once again, like I said, David is afraid of rejection. David is absolutely afraid of rejection. So there is no way that David would have sent a message like that, not knowing he would have received a positive response. No way. Listen, David is lazy and David is insecure. Okay. David is lazy and insecure people cheat a lot. David has cheated a lot too. Both of these people are cheaters. David keeps saying he's so happy to meet Madison, who is forgiving him of his past. And he feels good that he's not being judged for his past. The reason he's not being judged for his past is because the past that David has is the same past that Madison has. Madison wants us to believe that everybody in her life has been a cheater, the men she's dated. But she's a cheater too. This is not the first time Madison has cheated. Now, what we probably realize is Madison hasn't called it cheating in the past. There are a lot of people wandering around who want to redefine cheating, right? Redefine cheating. Just like Bill Clinton said to Monica Lewinsky, I did not have sexual relations. And we're like, girl, she slobbed your knob, President Clinton. And President Clinton said, well, that's not sex, right? Madison is running around right now here saying that this is not cheating. What she and David did is not cheating. It wasn't a real marriage. And the experts had to say it was a real marriage. This is cheating. So now you know that Madison's been running around doing a whole lot of dirty work out here in the streets, but she hasn't called it cheating. She didn't call it cheating, but it is. And now she's sitting on here telling David, I hope, David, you're not going to go back to your old ways. There it is. David is a cheater and a liar in his old ways. David is lazy. He's very, very lazy. That's why he what do you call it? Smoozes off his parents. That's what he does. His parents gave him a job in the bar to run a business. It closed. It was a failure. He was living upstairs in the bar. Once again, eating off his parents' plate. Now he's living in the basement apartment, eating off his parents' plate. He goes over here and gets with other people's girlfriends, eating off another man's plate. That's what David does. And David now is all of a sudden happy that Madison is willing not to hold over his head his past, all his past mistakes. Well, the reason why she's doing this is because she wants a fresh start too, David. And the fresh start is she doesn't want you to hold over her all her past mistakes because Madison has been trashed too. You both are trash. You both are trash. Carla was the only one that kept it real with Madison. She was the only one. She said, this is dirty and grimy, and I don't want to have nothing to do with it. I don't want to be your friend. Thank you, Carla. Thank you, Carla. Thank you, Carla. I said it from day one. Now, I know a lot of you on the Carla bandwagon now, and I know you are, but thank you, Carla, for finally saying, listen, girl. This is some dirty and grimy stuff. I don't want none of this energy around me. I don't want none of this around me. You really don't need to be in my girlfriend group. Absolutely not. Like Carla said, there's a million men in this world. And let me tell you what else there are. There are a million women. I ain't got to be friends with a woman like this. I don't want to be looking over my shoulder all the time with a woman like you. Show me who you are. And that's all I need to know. I'm out. I'm gone. There's too many women to be friends with. And there's too many men for you to have hooked up with or even hooked up after this show. Too many. She looked at Madison and said, girl, what you on, your honeymoon? Carla said, is this your honeymoon right now? Is this what you doing? And Madison said, oh, they're talking about it's an elevated friendship. This ain't no elevated friendship. It's a horizontal friendship, friends with benefits. That message with David is he's just so lazy. I'm just telling you, he's just so lazy. Even when Madison said she was going to leave, Madison was leaving and Madison said, oh, well, David, you could stay or you could go, but I'm going to leave. And guess what? David stayed. David didn't even walk her out to the car. Madison wanted David to leave at that time. I don't know if y'all picked up on that. When Madison said, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take off. I'm going to leave, but you can stay. What Madison was really saying was, I want in this moment, David, for you to leave with me. And David said, I'm going to stay. I told you, David is lazy. David didn't even walk her to the car, didn't even help her carry her bags to the car. Lazy, lazy, lazy. I'm glad that when Alan came back to get his stuff, they kept him away from David. That I'm really happy about, that the producers made sure that those two didn't come into contact with each other. But Alan had some time to think all night. He probably had a conversation with his dog, Luffy, and Luffy gave him some insight too. And he started to realize all those times where he was getting gaslit by Madison, those were all moments when they were having sex, talking about what do you like to do after sex? And Madison says that, I guess, I don't know, go have tacos. Tacos, tacos, tacos. Like we said, that has always been the code word between these two. And isn't it ironic that on the final day where the shit all went down, Alan was cooking some tacos too? This stuff is crazy, y'all. But all Juan could keep doing was praising Alan for keeping his composure, telling him, don't be bitter. Um, don't, I like the way that you conducted yourself like a gentleman. Juan is all about suppressing your real emotions. Juan is all about covering up how you really feel. Just like now in this whole episode. I know all of y'all are walking around talking about the reason why Juan doesn't like Carla is because he's not physically attracted to her. That's low hanging fruit. That's just really simplistic if that's what you believe it really is. If that's what you really believe, it's just no physical attraction to Carla. That's just really low hanging fruit. And you don't know because Juan is never going to let you know, because Juan is like a vault. He don't want to let you in to really know what's going on in his mind on the inside. He don't really want to let you in. He got advice for everybody out here, but he don't have no advice for himself. None. Alan said, I don't need to talk to none of these people. Alan said, I'm going to go out here and get my revenge body. Okay, Alan. And once again, Carla came back with the good advice and told him, like, hey, whatever you do in your next relationship, don't over romanticize it. Thank you, Carla. I mean, can I get a thank you card for Carla? Thank you, Carla. Don't over romanticize stuff, because that's exactly what Alan did. He over romanticized it. You see what I'm saying? And as a result, it was hard for him to see all of the red flags because he never really wanted to see them in the first place. He's got to be, in his next relationship, Alan does have to be a little bit more grounded. He's got to keep his eyes open. He doesn't have to be bitter. He doesn't have to be angry. He doesn't have to be completely jaded. We don't want that for him. But he does need to look a little bit more and a little bit deeper. Even when he was wondering whether or not, he said, oh, I wondered if they sleep in the same room last night. And Juan's like, don't be thinking about that. Listen, Juan. Let people cycle through their emotions. Okay, maybe if they stay on emotion too long, you come back in a month and they still on the same emotion. Yeah, you don't want people angry and bitter for a month, but it's only been 24 hours. It's only been 24 hours. This man can still be going through things in his head, wondering what happened. He can have questions, but Juan gets on my doggone nerves because every time someone has an emotion, Juan wants you to get rid of the emotion. It irritates me to no end. It really does. Let this man sit and process this information. And if he wants to process it out loud, then just be there to listen to him. Don't be telling him, don't be processing it. Don't be processing it. Juan acts like this man has been stuck in this place for 5 years. That's a different story. If you come back in another couple of months and he's still pondering over this stuff to this degree, then you might want to say, okay, Alan, we're ready to move forward. But right now, 24 hours and he can't still got some questions. Ugh, I can't stand Juan. Y'all know my least favorite person this whole season was Ike. He really was. Ike was my least favorite person this whole season. But let me tell you who's running up and pulling up second. Juan. He's running up and pulling up on second. When Michelle finally told Pastor Cal what went down last night, Pastor Cal was shocked. He said, what? Madison, what happened? Wait a minute. You mean to tell me he's been hanging out with Madison all this time? Pastor Cal was hotter than fish grease. He couldn't believe it, but he said it right. He said this symbolizes a serious lack of integrity. Like I said, a serious lack of integrity. And this has been an issue in both of these people's lives their entire time. Madison told David, I hope you do not go back to your old ways. Well, he ain't never left his old ways, Madison. You just an extension of his old ways. How does Madison see herself anything different? And Madison, you still marching in your old ways too. You in the same footsteps too, girl. When Alan came back to see Michelle after a couple of a week, I guess a week had gone by or something like that, and they're sitting on the couch. And shoot, these producers did it good. They start playing all this montage of video clips of Madison walking in the house at 1:30, David walking in the house at 1:30, a timeline side by side showing pretty much that these two were walking in the house at the same exact time all these days, all these early morning hours, 1:30 and 3 o'clock in the morning. It was a mess. It was a hot mess. That's why you've known, these producers have known it all this time. They've known it. They look at these clips every single day. They've seen it. They put two and two together long time ago. We saw the first time that David told Madison, I know you're going to be my gym buddy. He said it at the airport. He said he saw it at the airport. And back then, Madison was grinning from ear to ear. She was already flattered. She was already flattered. People want to talk about David was long suffering. He wasn't long suffering. And people want to talk about Madison was trying with Alan. She didn't try much either. This little love affair, this attraction thing happened on day one at the gym. Really, Michelle and Alan never had a chance. They never had a chance. These two locked in on each other very, very quickly. Very quickly. Madison is sending this text to Alan saying all this stuff about how she's sorry and blah, blah, this and blah, blah, this. And Alan is like, you know what? I'm not interested in none of this. He basically told her, don't text me no more. I don't want to talk to you. That's what I'm saying, Alan. Blocked. Block. That's one of the best features that came out. Block. Michelle said she still ain't cried. I tell you, Michelle said she still ain't cried. Like I told you, a lot of this stuff, people think this is brand new behavior. This ain't brand new behavior for Michelle either. That's why I keep telling you, this stuff with Michelle is not brand new. Michelle says she still ain't cried. And the person that she's really still upset with is Madison. She could care less about David. She could care less, and she finally admitted that. I mean, so many people on this episode, I really want to say that so many people on this episode was really lying about who they are. And I hope after this show, they do a little bit of work on that because, even Camille is one of them. Camille started off being my favorite, but one part about Camille that I really want her to work on after this season is work on her honesty on who she is, right? Because I think that's an area of really opportunity for Camille. Thomas is still looking for this lingerie. Thomas was on here talking about as they're packing up their bags and they're leaving, he's saying, you showed me this lingerie on day one of when we got married and he ain't seen it yet. He said, I've been down on you. I've done all this sex bondage with you. I've done everything you wanted me to do, Camille. And I still haven't seen this lingerie, but instead Camille is in the bed at 8 o'clock. She doesn't slob the knob and she walks around in a house coat. But she wants us to believe that she's this big sex vixen. It's just not true, Camille. It's not true. And now finally what she tells Thomas is that, well, I guess I'm saving now the lingerie for after decision day. Camille, I'm going to tell you this. When we get to this after decision day, where are they now, this episode or whatever, you better have worn that lingerie every single night. Every single night. Because I don't know how long Thomas is going to keep believing the person you described. She's going to have to show up pretty soon. Because Camille keeps describing a woman that's coming. She's coming. This woman is coming. The woman that's open, she's coming. The woman that's a sex vixen, she's coming. The woman that likes to slob the knob, she's coming. What you see now, Thomas, is the placeholder. This woman is just the placeholder. But that woman that I've been describing to you, who I really want to be, she's going to come. You see, Camille in a lot of ways is doing just like David and Madison do. They're describing people who they are, but we want that person here, Camille. We want her here. I mean, Camille ain't doing all the dirty work that Madison is, so I don't want to compare her to them. I don't even want to put them in the same bucket. But there is a dishonesty part about Camille that's centering around, why can't Camille be comfortable with who she is and feel like a man will just love her who she is? She don't need to put on this fake, phony facade. She don't need to do this. Camille, girl, I want better for you. I really, really do want better for you. And if I don't want to see no more scenes where Thomas is still wanting for your promises to come true. Where are they? Where are they? Juan and Carla leaving the house. Juan saying goodbye to this house with all this bad energy. I'm so sick of Juan. Juan, I really don't want you to, I don't want to come out of your mouth any more lines from Carla. Nothing about energy or nothing, because you sat up there and told your friend that you sick of all this conversation about energy. But now every time I turn around, you want to talk about something about energy. I won't miss him. I will not miss him after this season is over. David finally decides to go tell his friend what went down. And he starts off talking about, man, a lot has happened since I talked to you last. And then he starts running down all the things that Madison has done for him. Madison gives me comfort. She gives me attention. He gives me candy. She gives me tacos. She forgives me of all my past aggressions. That's all he talks about, is how his ego gets fed by Madison. David's one of those people who gives you compliments because he wants one in return. Remember, everybody kept saying how sweet David was, and David was always giving compliments to women and being real nice, because what he's looking for is in return. David is so thirsty. He's not giving you a compliment. He's not saying, hey, you look nice, because what he wants you to say is you look nice too. That's what even though he don't look nice and even though he don't work out. That's what he wants you to do. He's really just fishing for compliments. You see, that's what I'm saying. If you study David, is he really giving compliments or is he fishing for a compliment? And what I believe is David fishes for compliments, right? All he talks about is how people like him. I feel so good that you guys like me still and that you know who I really am and you know my insights. That's all he cares about. All he cares about is how Madison pumped him up. Madison pumped him up. This is why he was a sitting duck when Michelle talked about him. David said he just want to be around Madison all the time because she does stuff I like to do. She plays football. She plays darts. That's what I was saying. She likes to do fantasy football picks. He said he just want to be around her all the time, and she compliments me all the time. He told his friend, back we started talking was when we was walking on the treadmill, and I don't even like the treadmill. I know you don't like it. I've been trying to tell these people out here you don't like it, but everybody been down in my comments talking about that's not true. He really does like to work out. That's fine. Get food by David. Get food by David. His friend said, hey man, do you think it's that you just didn't want to get denied again? Do you think you just ran over to Madison for acceptance because you got rejected by because you got rejected by Michelle? His friend said it. His friend knows him. His friend knows that David is thirsty for attention and acceptance. And his friend saw it right away. Are you sure, man, the only reason you're with Madison is just because she chased you and she wanted you, and that it really has to do with that part and not that you're just so thirsty? And David says, no, we really got a strong vibe. We really got a strong connection. And we do know from all the, the social media posts out here that these two have been spotted together in the streets even now today. And this is over a year later after the weddings, because supposedly these weddings or divorces happened in 2023. Remember, it's been a long time. So this show started in 2024. It's been a year. So that would mean that Madison and David have been together for over a year, that they're a nice, happy couple. I sure hope they're still a couple so that that it's real and it's not just saving face. I really hope that Madison is staying with David because she still really wants to be with him, but not still with him because he was just a little conquest. He was just a little competition thing, and she was living out one of her normal fantasies. I really hope it's real, because if Madison hasn't changed her ways and David hasn't changed his ways, then this relationship is going to end in a mess. Either Madison is going to leave him because, like I said, she's only here for the competition, maybe, right? But both of them are sitting over here trying to justify all the carnage that they've done, the lives that they've hurt, the people that they've hurt. And all Madison keeps talking about is how she wants to have her day in court so she can explain herself. And that friend starts telling her, yeah, just go tell him that you value him and that as your wife, I want to speak to you. What? You want to pull the wife card? No, you just said it wasn't no real marriage. That's what gave you the authority to cheat. But now you want to pull the wife card. Madison's friends is trash too. They all trash. Oh my goodness. Carla's right. I don't need none of this around me. None of it. We had to see a little bit of MM with Ike in this episode too. MM got to say her last bit of stuff to Ike. And you know what, MM, I'm going to give you a pass because I get your feelings. I really do get them. I thought you did okay. Some of it was a little bit corny. Some of it felt like it was a little bit prepared or rehearsed. But you know what? You deserve the stage. You've done been through a lot. You've taken a lot. You've had to endure a lot. So I'm gonna let you have the stage and do what you did. Even though, like I said, a little bit was corny, a little bit of it was corny, but that's okay. I'm not with Dr. Pia. I wouldn't have said nothing to you. I would have just let you do what you do, girl, because you deserve your moment to get back at Ike because he's done a lot of dirty, nasty stuff. So I really wasn't for Dr. Pia checking you. Um, I don't think that you need to be checked at all. I think you need to be have given the floor because you really haven't been given it in these past episodes. And so I think you deserve the floor. She said she wished him the worst. She told him, here's a list of therapists so you can go get some help. That it's true. It's true, MM. It's all true. She said, you know, normally I charge for my consultation, but this one is on the house for you. Girl, you had your one-liners prepared. But I was glad to see the experts show up and tell Ike that when you came there delivering those one-page divorce papers, you was coming there to try to embarrass MM. You was coming there to embarrass MM. Either that or you're a stone cold fool. Which one is it, Ike? Both of them. He's a fool and he came there to try to embarrass her. But after it's all over, I got to say it one more time. See, I told you guys. I told you so. I told you so. You see, anytime MM shows any emotion, that's when Ike uses that moment to say, I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. This is who really MM really is. So here's the thing. If this is who MM really is, and this is what she does, then I want to see the pictures, the audio, just like the producers have the audio and the pictures with David and Madison. Because if this is what MM was doing to you behind closed doors, berating you, as you say, Ike, there will be some tape footage of it. And let me tell you, the producers would have shown it. They would have shown it. And because they didn't show it, Ike, it doesn't exist. So I know you want to use this moment to say, see how she's being nasty now or whatever else. This is how she's always been. I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. He's a liar, just like all these other people are liars. And the experts are still trying to get Madison and David to admit that this is more than just an elevated friendship that Madison calls it. This is a sexual relationship. And I believe they have footage on it. I do. But I feel that they've decided to not show it. I think there's other evidence out there, but I think what the producers have decided is maybe not to show it because maybe they're still a couple. I don't know what's going on, but I think that there's more evidence that these two slipped up even more because they're sloppy. David and Madison are sloppy. That's what everybody talked about. In the end, do people really care that you two got together? Who cares? It's the way that you did it. You're sloppy and you're messy. They said, all we've done is hug. We haven't had no sex. And Pastor Cal, the expert, says we don't believe it. And David said, I don't care what you don't believe. You can believe whatever you want to believe. That's exactly it. That's David's real attitude. I know everybody thinks David is such a nice guy. He's not. David doesn't give compliments. He fishes for compliments. It's a difference because it's a place of where it comes from. When you give compliments just because you want someone to compliment you, that's coming from a totally different place when you're giving compliments because you want them back. That's a completely different person. But I was glad Pastor Cal left David with something to think about. You sitting over here thinking about this woman really wanting you because she's been chasing you this whole season. But let me tell you what she told me. She told me she didn't want no black man, no man of color, no nothing. She don't even want your type, right? So this is what you got to say to yourself. Was Madison lying from the very beginning about her type? Yeah, she was lying from the very beginning. From the very beginning, this is the type that Madison actually really liked. I'm telling you, she lied to you, Pastor Cal, too. See, Pastor Cal is still not believing who's Madison's real type. That's why this whole convoluted scam could go on, because Madison was the one that lied all this time about her type. She fooled Michelle. She fooled the experts. She fooled everyone. She's running around here trying to make everyone believe that she's been the victim of all these horrible men out here, but she's really the horrible woman. And once again, Madison probably don't even consider David black or Latino. Does David even speak Spanish? Get out of here. But Pastor Cal said, you know what? You better learn how to create some boundaries because right now, y'all don't have no boundaries. You came into this relationship together based on the two of you breaking boundaries of your original relationship with your spouses. Now that you're in a relationship together with yourself, what are going to be your boundaries? Are your boundaries going to be the boundaries that you couldn't have in your marriage? That's what creates the dilemma for these two. How do you craft a loving, caring relationship built on trust and boundaries when your relationship was formed off of breaking boundaries and breaking trust? That's why the two of these people want everyone to concentrate on emotions and feelings. But we know that Madison isn't even a woman who operates off her emotions. That's what's so crazy about this. They want us to believe that they're just two people who fell in love, that they're so full of emotion that they just fell in love. But that's not even Madison's MO. She is not a touchy-feely person. She's not even a woman who lets her emotions take her away. Madison is a thinker. She's deliberate, which means she getting with David was deliberate. It was thinking. That's why all those pictures of her brother-in-law and all this stuff is really, really odd and very, very eerie. That's why Dr. Powell is bringing up that when you hear what Madison says, this seems odd. This isn't lining up. Madison just fell into her feelings and she fell in love with David. Nah. Madison was trying to beat Michelle. And I really don't know what really started it. I know everyone was going to want to say that Madison just fell in love with David. That's what it was. There's another element to it. There's another element to the competition that Madison also felt towards Michelle. And I don't know much of it because I didn't get to see that relationship. They didn't show it enough. Michelle says they often talk to each other. They often confided in each other. But whatever it is, Madison also had another level of jealousy or competition with Michelle because Madison didn't just do this to Alan. Madison also did this to Michelle. And there was something about Michelle that also ignited that competition in her. Just like she's over here sleeping with the look-alike man of her sister. She probably in competition with her sister too. I wouldn't have nothing to do with Madison. Just like Carla said, this is dirty and this is grimy and I'm good, girl. I don't need to be your friend. Good luck. Good luck to these two. But don't be going out on no couple dates with them. Camille and Thomas, don't be going out on no couple dates with Madison and David. And I know Thomas ain't. I know Thomas ain't going on no double date. But anyway, that's it, y'all. That's all I got to talk about. And I will see y'all later. Bye.